This is a multi-millionaire, and he's going to jail. You know why? He's Luther Campbell, and he heads 2 Live Crew, and they're upset in Florida. The cops not only busted the rock group, they busted a record seller for selling their albums. Show them the tape, Brian.
You say no! No!
You having a good time, Luther? Everything okay?
Yeah, man, everything's all right, man. Everybody's just treating me nice. Everything's just cool in the game.
Good, good. Now I want to talk to you about the tour.
Excuse me, fellas. I wrote a little something I think you guys might really be able to use on your next album. Do it. Do it in the butt. Do it again, my back-end friend.
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Hello and welcome back. Today we're here to talk about the 9th episode of Season 2. It was the 22nd episode overall. It was called Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. It was episode number 7F09. It originally aired on December 20th of 1990. It was written by John Swartzwelder, obviously the best Simpsons writer. And it was our first episode directed by Jim Reardon. The showrunners, as usual, were Matt Groening, Sam Simon, and James L. Brooks. So in my last video, I said that Bart the Daredevil was the best episode that had aired up to that point. And I have to say, I think the same is true for this episode as well. In my opinion, it's better than all 21 episodes that aired before it.
It's a good episode, as I recall. It's too bad this really isn't John Swartzwelder, though.
The story of this episode deals heavily with the idea of censorship and why it should be fully rejected. At the time of this broadcast, there were several attempts at censorship, aimed especially at the music industry, mostly heavy metal bands. But the rap group 2 Live Crew were actually arrested for singing their lyrics on stage, as well as a record store owner just for selling their album. But since John Swartzwelder doesn't show up for these commentaries, the Simpsons producers were able to omit the real inspiration for this script. Or so I think. We'll get into that later. But let's just go ahead and get the opening theme out of the way.
Hi, I'm Al Jean.
This is Mike Reese.
This is Matt Groening.
This is Jim Reardon.
This is episode 7F09, Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, written by the legendary John Swartzwelder, directed by Jim Reardon.
First broadcast in December of 1990.
This is one of the second season episodes that received the most acclaim, dealt with censorship issues, and on the other hand, it got us a chance to do a tour de force of Itchy and Scratchy cartoons, which people have been clamoring for. So we sort of got to have our cake with bloody cartoons and eat it too by having a moral point to it.
And John Swartzwelder loves Itchy and Scratchy, and whenever he would pitch a story idea, it would seem to revolve around Itchy and Scratchy, and he's written many, many episodes that sort of have them at the center.
Yeah, I think he's written more lines for them than he has for, like, Lisa.
Well, Itchy and Scratchy originated in watching Tom and Jerry and other cat and mouse cartoons as a kid, and my friends and I used to fantasize about a really ultra-violent cat and mouse cartoon and how fun that would be. And actually, Jim, when you first came to work on The Simpsons, I mean, one of the reasons why you were hired is because of that short film that you made, which was, you all tell about it.
I did a student film at Cal Arts called Bring Me the Head of Charlie Brown, which I found out later I had retroactively ripped off a joke from a Harvard Lampoon magazine.
This Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, another heartwarming holiday special starring the Peanuts Gang. When the Great Pumpkin puts a bounty on Charlie Brown's head, the rest of the gang race against each other to bump him off and collect the reward. Are you ready, Lucy?
Just a minute. Okay, blockhead.
Charlie Brown!
Sponsored by Madison Farms, makers of Ding Dongs, Twinkies, Pooftas, and Wussy Cakes.
Schroeder, where's your piano?
Also starring Snoopy and the Red Baron, Peppermint Patty, And the kite-eating tree.
So, what's the prevailing attitude, Charlie Brown? I don't know, Linus. I feel like someone is out to get me.
Heavily disguised, Charlie Brown is forced to take it on the lam. There he is! Get him!
Good grief.
Until they pushed him too far.
Taste it, Charlie Brown!
See you in hell.
And 1 and 2.
Ain't so bad, ain't so bad.
Happiness is a warm pussy.
Bring me the head of Charlie Brown, with a special appearance by the little red-haired girl.
Turn out the light, will ya?
And it was pretty violent. I don't think Mr. Schultz ever saw it, because I never did get served with papers. So.
I saw it once, and it's dead on. I mean, it looks great.
Well, I got a reputation for doing violent cartoons, which served me well in this episode.
Had you done episodes before this? How many?
Not on this show. I made my bones on this one. So.
This is your first one, man. It's such a gem.
And Itchy and Scratchy the name is inspired by Pixie and Dixie, the old the mice on the...
I hate Mises to Pieces, what the cat said. Jinx, I think his name was.
You said once, too, it was even more inspired by Herman and Catnip, which was sort of a knockoff of Tom and Jerry, where there's nothing deft about them. They're just ugly, violent cartoons.
This is sort of a runner we've done through the years, that Homer is an incredibly poor workman, unable to build a barbecue pit or a soapbox derby racer.
Well, I think at this point we hadn't ripped off Alfred Hitchcock for at least 2 weeks, so we figured it was time to do it again.
The shot that's a parody of in the movie, I believe, is a still photo of Janet Leigh that goes into...
Well, that's actually a still photo of Homer also, which is hard to tell.
Where would an innocent child get the idea to attack her father with a mallet?
That's my favorite moment in the show, putting her right down in front of the TV, asking where. She got the idea.
I always thought this was funny, that there's absolutely no reason it's in a kitchen at the beginning. It's mallets, but...
No, Maggie, bad baby!
Keep her away from me, Marge. She's got that crazy look in her eyes again.
So, over the years, we've gotten fan mail from people asking, for Itchy and Scratchy to get their own spin-off and, more Itchy and Scratchy, more. And we put together a montage of Itchy and Scratchy moments that's several minutes long, and I've shown it to audiences, and they get stunned after about a minute and a half.
I think also if you edited all together the Itchy and Scratchies we'd had in 10 years, it'd still be only about 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
I mean, they're incredibly quick.
Well, a little goes a long way.
Yep.
People love them, and they're really tough on the writers because they don't fill that much time, and it's hard to think of the title, and it's hard to write something that's funny on its own, but it's also a parody humor.
To me, too, we've really made the point that these cartoons are really violent. So now we'll do it if we have a new thing to satirize or we can do something a little fresh with it.
And you're never sure, do people love them as parodies or just because they're so violent?
So television's responsible.
You heard me. I won't be in for the rest of the week.
You know what I remember about this episode is when it finally aired. It was my first show, and I think it was at the Christmas party. And just as it was about to go on the air, the Fox satellite blew out, and like the whole West Coast missed the first act of it.
Oh,
I remember.
Yeah, I remember. And so, of course, all the people I had told back home I was directing an episode didn't believe me because they didn't see any of the credits for it.
Oh. I told you. My baby beat me up. Oh, it is not the worst excuse I ever thought of.
I'm cataloging the violence in these cartoons.
This was an early favorite joke I know among the staff. The idea, and it was in Swartzwelder's script, that he puts the bombs in his eye sockets, and they sort of work.
Yeah, that he looks at himself in the mirror with the bombs.
This is the kind of entertainment they think is suitable for younger and more impressionable viewers?
I love dogs tricked.
I haven't seen one dog.
So in my opinion, this list is very reminiscent of the famous Filthy 15 list that was published by the PMRC. And PMRC stands for Parents Music Resource Center. It was an organization put together by Democrat senators from the mid to late 80s. More specifically, it was created by Al Gore. And the face of this organization was his wife, Tipper Gore. And according to her, this whole thing got started because she purchased the album Purple Rain by Prince for her daughters. And when she heard the song Darling Nikki, she was embarrassed and disgusted. So they started a crusade to implement a rating system for the music industry. Tipper Gore went on an interview tour that got her on every television show that existed at the time. Then there were Senate hearings where they called Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, Frank Zappa, and even John Denver.
Senator Gore.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Excuse me, are you going to tell me you're a big fan of my music as well?
No, I'm not. I'm not a fan of your music.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gore.
I'm aware that Frank Zappa and John Denver cover quite a spectrum, and I do enjoy them both. I am not, however, a fan of Twisted Sister, and I will readily say that. Mr. Snyder, what is the name of your fan club?
The fan club is called the SMF Friends of Twisted Sister.
And what does SMF stand for when it's spelled out?
It stands for the Sick Motherfucking Friends of Twisted Sister.
Is this also a Christian group?
I don't believe that profanity has anything to do with Christianity. Thank you.
The whole thing was completely ridiculous. And for the most part, the PMRC was rejected by the public. But it wasn't a total failure, because they were able to create this label which was placed on the cover of every album that had a single naughty word in it. This label was exemplary for corrupting my childhood, because it very clearly advertised to me which version of an album I should buy.
Thank you, Tipper and Jesse, for making sure that as long as there are a few four-letter words in the album, it will always sell an extra 1 million copies.
And at the time when this was going on, no one wanted to believe that Tipper Gore or Al Gore were Democrats. Even today, the internet firmly believes that this entire thing was caused by the Republicans.
It's simply not true. I happen to be a liberal Democrat.
Just because it happened to take place during the Reagan administration. But Reagan had nothing to do with this. This whole thing was strictly a Democrat affair. But if you boil this down to the core issue and erase all the politics involved, these are simply the actions of lazy parents. Just a bunch of lazy parents who can't be bothered to raise their children.
Yeah, but what are you going to do?
Dear purveyors of senseless violence.
Some more of the everybody's customized paper.
Here's from the Mind of Marge stationery.
I know this may sound silly at first, but I believe that the cartoons you show to our children are influencing their behavior in a negative way.
This is a reference to Krusty being illiterate, a character trait we dropped because it's ridiculous. You really can't have a character be illiterate very easily.
Please try to tone down the psychotic violence.
Hey, Rich.
Rich, is that you?
Actually, that's based on a guy named Eddie Fitzgerald, who had worked with, I think, Sam at Filmation.
Dear valued viewer, thank you for taking an interest in the Itchy and Scratchy program. Enclosed is a personally autographed photo of America's favorite cat and mouse team to add to your collection.
This is Alex Rocco as the voice of the Itchy and Scratchy producer.
Well, we love The Godfather so much, I kept trying to think of a way to have him get his eye shot out, just as a tribute, but we couldn't fit it in.
In regards to your specific comments about the show, our research indicates that one person cannot make a difference, no matter how big a screwball she is.
The idea of doing Itchy and Scratchy on Ice as a poster was outrageous, and then we did Simpsons on Ice for Icecapades.
Which was outrageous.
Well, nobody wanted to work on it, and I don't know why. So I wrote the script for it and got paid off in pinball machines. We got Simpsons pinball machines, that's where those pinball machines came from.
Matt gave us all pinball machines.
I still have mine.
Nice plaques on them, and they're great pinball machines. Did they win an award?
Yeah, it did. It won.
What did they call the Pinball Machine Award?
Best coin-op machine of 1990,
Gotcha.
or whatever year it was.
So let me close by saying...
And the horse I rode in on, I'll show them what one screwball can do.
Well, how long are we going to have to be doing this?
Well, I've never changed the world before, so I don't know how long it takes exactly.
This is like all signs, and they're all hard to animate because the lettering starts bobbing all over the place.
That reminds me, I gotta get over to Millhouse's and play sports.
One of those wristwatches that just magically appears. I think eventually we're just going to shorthand it to the point where they'll just pop on their hand and then pop off as soon as they finish the line.
It's like a David Cronenberg thing. You see them actually emerging from the flesh.
And what happens when a child grows up with insanely violent role models like these?
Bring Back Wagon Train always killed me.
That's Schwartzwelder, I think.
I think he actually has a sign like that in his home.
No, he has Wagon Train playing on his TV.
How many of you were hit on the head with mallets last week? I'm sorry about the dinners.
Actually, the TV dinner's more appetizing than what they usually eat.
Yeah.
Oh, the purple glop, yeah.
Do they have Tabasco sauce on the table?
Hey, kids. Guess what, Sideshow Mel?
So this is the first appearance of Sideshow Mel, and I'm not 100% sure on which episode it is in which he first speaks. I could be wrong, but I think it's the Season 3 episode Black Widower.
Settle down, boys and girls. Or Krusty will have to bring out his old friend, Corporal Punishment again.
And this is our first appearance of Corporal Punishment. I don't think he's ever spoken.
No! You're ruining the show! Oh, stop!
Dan Castellaneta as Krusty is so great.
Yeah.
He's a guy totally in misery.
Lady, be quiet. I don't know living here, all right? Stop!
Drop an anvil on her?
Hit her on the head with a piano.
Stuff her full of TNT, then throw a match down her throat and run.
You make me sick.
This was a sort of set we did a lot in the second season. It's a stupid board full of Ivy League graduates that have terrible ideas.
Just like the Simpsons producers.
I believe that's Rich Moore.
So obviously Al Jean wasn't paying attention the first time we saw this character. And that's probably why Jim Reardon didn't bother to correct him. If he didn't listen the first time, he probably won't hear him the second time either.
Marge has her own chair next to the TV to take notes. That's great.
I never knew mice lived such interesting lives.
I think that's a short story line about mice leading such interesting lives. I always thought that was very funny.
Yeah, this is a great scene coming up.
I thought this cue of Alf Clausen's was really good. The minor key, take me out to the ball game.
Take that, you dumb squirrel!
I've always loved Homer. If anyone's going to get it, it's going to be Homer, and it goes right by him.
Yes, I've heard of your late-night panel discussion show. Well, I'd love to.
Smart line.
And with Tipper Gore, author of the book Raising PG Kids in an X-Rated Society.
This is ABC News Nightline.
Brought to you by AT&T.
Is this the episode, Al, we were going to get O.J. Simpson for the panel?
No, that was later. That was the power plant on strike.
Oh, okay.
And we wound up getting Dr. Joyce Brothers.
He was just one part away from full-time acting.
Now when we have these letters supered over people on the screen, we usually do it in post.
Yeah.
So you can read them.
Very enjoyable episode, but this has got to be the 10th cartoon in 12 minutes.
Hilarious. Now, what in the world is wrong with that, Mrs. Simpson? There's nothing wrong with it.
Excuse me. He was addressing me.
Tipper, I'll let you speak. Okay. First of all, that's a very bizarre rendition of what my group is about. We are not right-wing fundamentalists. I happen to be a liberal Democrat. We have two coalitions.
Why do you speak at Phyllis Schlafly function?
Okay, one at a time. It's simply not true. I happen to be a liberal Democrat.
Yeah, and there was something called the Crusades, for instance. Tremendous violence. Many people killed. The darn thing went on for 30 years.
Darn thing went on for 300 years. Do we always have Alex Rocco now come in for Roger Myers? I know
Hank did it one time, but if we bring him back now, we get him. It was a case where I think he was busy doing another show the one time we had Hank do it. I think we also called it like Roger Myers the Third one time.
Oh, that's right.
Well, it looks like we're not going to settle this tonight. Mrs. Simpson, in the 9 seconds we have left, can you summarize your position for us?
Tipper Gore, in the last 30 seconds, do you see anything which points to an abatement of this phenomenon?
No, I don't. I think it's going to get worse. And I think what we have in the marketplace is something akin to video anarchy. And I think that what the consumer would really be best served by would be a voluntary system initiated within the industry to provide consistent information so people could make individual choices in the marketplace.
All right, Tipper Gore, Frank Zappa, Gene Siskel, thank you for being with us tonight. Nice of you all to join us.
I'd like to ask all the parents in Springfield who are concerned about this to write in and let the cartoon makers know how you feel. Thank you.
The screwballs have spoken.
It was close to my heart because I hated it when they would cut up the Bugs Bunny cartoons on Saturday morning. Like every other punchline got dropped out.
Oh, how much of this, was this inspired too by Terry Ricolta, who protested our own network, Fox Network?
Over the Married with Children. People now feel actually helped the network grow with the publicity that accrued to Married with Children from our letter. Yeah, I think that was part of it.
Look, I'm sure there are elements of this script that are inspired by the Terry Ricolta story, especially considering the fact that she was suing the network that The Simpsons is on. But if you're not an obsessive fan of Married with Children, you've probably never heard of her before. But the Tipper Gore PMRC story, on the other hand, was big news at the time. And I just think it's obvious that this is what John Swartzwelder was referencing. And if I were speculating, and I am, I would say the reason they never mentioned Tipper Gore is because this audio commentary was recorded back in 2002. And at the time, not only did Al Gore have a guest appearance on Futurama, but his daughter Kristen Gore was already writing for the show. My guess is Matt Groening just didn't want them to talk about it. And I'm sure they agreed since they were all still butthurt over the 2000 election when Al Gore lost to Bush.
This is sort of from Field of Dreams also, wasn't it?
Yeah, why not?
This is Myers. I'm here with the writers. Listen, you're so smart. How do we end this picture?
Actually, this is Rich Moore, David Silverman, and Wes Archer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Holy Trinity.
You guys just can't stop putting yourselves in.
Did Wes wear a beret?
At the time he was.
So the funny thing, when we throw characters in like this in the background, they go into just sort of the slush pile of background characters. So you guys will routinely turn up in other episodes and crowds and that kind of thing.
Well, these are actually pretty well-designed caricatures because they're not too fussy. You can usually tell in cartoons when animators draw themselves in because they look very peculiarly...
Well, animators look pretty peculiar. Anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, he's definitely right about that. Just take a look at this clip of Jim Reardon on Australian television from the late 90s. I mean, he's wearing a clown suit, right? Or maybe he's just wearing it inside out. I have no idea. But I was unable to find a single picture of this guy where he doesn't look peculiar.
Couldn't Itchy share his pie with Scratchy? Then they would both have pie.
I think another thing we were satirizing, over the years the show has gotten a lot of broadcast standards notes. And Marge's suggestion, why don't we just have them share their pie, is the sort of suggestion they'll make. Instead of Bart having a gun, could he just have a squirt gun? Wouldn't that be just as interesting?
They share and love and share, love, share.
Now, the same person who wrote the original Itchy and Scratchy theme song write this one as well? Because there's, it's a wide stylistic gap there. This is what I was thinking of, the two different Itchy and Scratchy songs.
Oh, their pupils are bigger.
Yeah, they look very gay in this revised episode.
And they've turned into zombies.
And they talk.
Lemonade?
And I know kids love that cartoon, too. I would hear about it all the time. Want some lemonade? Kids would say, oh, that's my favorite line. And this did happen in later Tom and Jerry's. They started talking, too, didn't they?
I think in the feature they did.
Which was made at Film Roman, right?
That's right. Yeah. Phil directed it personally.
Itchy and Scratchy seem to have lost their edge.
But the third bowl of porridge was just right.
This long montage here, that was Bob Anderson had just started on the show, and this is the first thing he did as an assistant director. He laid out this whole little pastoral sequence here.
This is fantastic, and what I love about this is a kind of a satire that we had never done before. Is basically making a satirical point by saying the opposite of what we believe,
But you remember, Jim Brooks wanted the show to end this way, basically. He just wanted the world to be idyllic forever, and I guess Itchy and Scratchy banned from the airwaves, and we had to explain to him how TV works, how you have to get back to square one by the end.
John Swartzwelder had done this a couple times, by the way, just using Beethoven's Sixth Symphony here, Peter and the Wolf, for a long extended musical sequence. This would be very rare on a primetime show at this point.
Beautiful idea, and it was such a great choice of music that he had stuck in the script. It wasn't any kind of an afterthought or...
Well, anything German that he can put in. The great thing is we didn't have to pay Beethoven any royalties. I like Krusty's mark on the floor. That's a nice touch.
After having directed the show all these years, I noticed some of these early ones, how long the scenes run compared to what we do today. They go much quicker now.
Come on, Lise, let's go finish our soapbox racers. Okay.
That line of Bart's about finishing his soapbox racer is a genesis for the later episode where he did build his soapbox racer. When we would try to think of new stories, we would just comb over the old ones.
And certainly, I remember that when there's the case where Principal Skinner just says, I saw some terrible things in Nam, but this takes the cake. And then it wound up spinning into many jokes and episodes about Skinner's Nam experience.
Yeah, when people say, oh, do we have a grand scheme for the show? Usually not. It's just something like that strikes us as interesting. We didn't play out over the course of the next year or two.
Marge, get the door.
What in the world?
We used to do a lot of drool at that point. I think we cut back at a certain point. It was just getting too copious.
It seemed too like we'd made the joke. After a while, what's the diff?
We'll just check out Al Jean with the early 2000s lingo. What's the diff? No one talks like that.
Get dressed, Marge. You've got to lead our protest against this abomination.
That's actually my favorite joke, is Michelangelo's David in 1958.
Yeah, the joke just being it was the same in 1858 or 1758.
What is this all about? What do you people want? We want you to get your big Italian butt out of here.
This character was on loan from a Mr. Peabody cartoon.
Is it a masterpiece, or just some guy with his pants down?
Now, this joke actually came true. I saw a newspaper photo of a copy of the David statue in Florida where they had marble pants on the statue so that passing motorists wouldn't be offended.
I think everyone in Springfield should see it.
Wait a minute. Aren't you Marge Simpson the Wacko?
Kent Brockman has a real distinct point of view in this show.
And again, this is what I really like about The Simpsons. When you handle a bigger issue like this, we really don't have a point of view, and we fill an episode by looking at both sides of it. And so many rotten TV shows will not only do an issue, they'll tell you what you have to think at the end of it. And
also they'll take the easy point of view.
Yeah.
And you just think, well, how hard is that to just say, oh, bad, violent cartoons are bad.
Well, you guys certainly did take the easy way out of this commentary by not mentioning Tipper Gore or the PMRC even once.
I'd like to alert our affiliates that we will be ending our show early tonight. Join us tomorrow when our topic will be religion, which is the one true faith.
Now we can reveal the answer. It's Christianity.
Scratchy's the cat, by the way. We could only remember by the fact that Scratchy has the word cat in it.
And Dan does the voice of Itchy, although I think he used to do the voice of Scratchy, and Harry's the other one.
Did they switch at some point and not tell anyone?
I think, but it's lost to the mist of time.
Pretty soon, every boy and girl at Springfield Elementary School is going to come and see this thing.
Really? Why?
They're forcing them!
I think, again, Jim Brooks sort of gave us this last ending for the show, because it was sort of a sad, bleak ending here, and he gave us the happy, resolved joke here, which I just talked over.
They can probably tune you out.
My mic doesn't even work.
Look, folks, I don't care if it's the Republicans or the Democrats doing the censoring. I'm against it either way. But you have to admit that over time, censorship has become the main weapon of the left. And I think this episode, Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, really shows the contrast between the Simpsons producers of 1990 and the Simpsons producers of 2002. And they continued to go down that road until their show became completely unwatchable. But leaving all that behind, I just can't say enough nice things about Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. I still think it's the best episode of the first 22 that aired. So I'm gonna go get started on yet another John Swartzwelder episode. Bart gets hit by a car. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.